Billionaire Jeffrey Epstein arrested.
Jeffrey Epstein, the multimillionaire, pleading not guilty.
We have to fight like hell.
So here we are.
The bill is passed.
The Epstein files have just been released.
The Epstein files, all 3 million pages, are out in the world.
I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
And as details of the notorious sex criminal's lifestyle and famous friends are revealed, many are asking, where are the consequences?
The reason we are here right now fighting for justice is because everyone wanted to look away.
For years, what we knew about Jeffrey Epstein was shrouded by ongoing criminal investigations. But in 2019, after Epstein was found dead in his prison cell, the push for the files began. According to the Department of Justice, the files were pulled from numerous cases investigating Epstein, his death, the case against his butler, and Ghislaine Maxwell, who was sentenced to 20 years for helping Epstein. So, what's in it? Well, behind this very simple web page and search box are 180,000 images, 14 hours of video, and 3 million files. The CN Tower is 553 meters high. If you stacked 3 million pages, it would reach up to here. But in its letter to Congress, the DOJ says it's collected more than 6 million pages that could be potentially responsive. Add in the roughly 500,000 pages that were already released, and that means there's still 2.5 million files that haven't been disclosed. We're talking about a ton of material, with duplication and repetition, complete with everything from correspondence to Epstein and unverified allegations. And so that's why just merely being mentioned in the files is not a smoking gun. Search for Donald Trump and there are thousands of mentions. Everything from news articles to unverified and extremely disturbing allegations collected by the FBI. But some aspects of Jeffrey Epstein and the company he kept is beginning to come to light. Nima Rahmani is a former federal prosecutor.
We've learned that Jeffrey Epstein rubbed elbows with some of the most rich and powerful men in the world.
In the emails and text messages, Epstein talked politics with Trump advisor Steve Bannon. Elon Musk asked about the best time for the wildest party on the island. Virgin founder and billionaire Richard Branson jokes with Epstein about bringing his harem. Former Prince Andrew, also shown here, asks about a beautiful Russian. And then there's the redactions. Jess Michaels was a dancer in New York City who says she was raped by Jeffrey Epstein in 1991.
You know, you said they finally released. Well, they've finally released 50%. And the 50% that they did release, an inordinate redactions, like inordinate redactions. This is a victim statement. This victim statement was 7 pages long. 3 pages of it were completely blacked out like this. And in the victim statement, she says she feared for her life because of the abuse she was experiencing from wealthy and powerful men.
The redactions seem to be excessive. Under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, the only information to be redacted is that which identifies victims of sex abuse or child pornography. Now, you have the Deputy Attorney General of the United States, the number 2 at the Department of Justice, Todd Blanche, saying that the Department of Justice is also redacting information pending ongoing investigations.
But Blanche, who once served as Trump's personal lawyer, has also said this.
In July, the Department of Justice said that we had reviewed the files, the quote Epstein files, and there was nothing in there that allowed us to prosecute anybody.
And yet listen to Vermont's Becca Balint, who as a member of Congress was able to read the unredacted files.
And honestly, it's just so depraved and it's sick and it's not a cabal. It's so much bigger than a cabal. It is a vast network of rich and powerful people believing they can do whatever they want.
This is what frustrates political analyst Molly Jong-Fast.
We should have hearings. We should have, the whole point of the House oversight is that we should have hearings. We should know who these men are, right? There's a client list.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen? It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Where's the client list? You know, why is the email about sex trafficking kid, you know, why is the sender redacted?
John Fast believes there's much more that could have been done.
I do think that if somebody looked at this information and wanted to find accountability and then was able to talk to these victims, you could make a case. But what's so incredibly infuriating about this whole story is clearly nobody ever wanted to make a case, right? Like they were like, Jeff's in jail, that's it.
Former prosecutor Romani says the DOJ has yet to release critical information.
I'm looking at those FBI 402s, the interview memorandum, some of which are completely blacked out. Again, it strikes me as potentially excessive. I would like to see what those documents contain. I would have also expected to see more video of Epstein Island, who was coming, who was leaving.
As to why there haven't been more charges, Romani says moving forward with a criminal prosecution requires a vital element.
We need a victim who's willing and able to testify in court. Criminal cases and civil ones, they're based on witness testimony.
But Epstein survivors who say they've not been contacted by the Department of Justice.
Please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice.
Are not backing down.
Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand.
We do anticipate more people being prosecuted, very much so.
And they're also thinking bigger.
I think each one of us is grappling with what justice looks like for us. And for me, it means how do we make sure something like this never happens again?
And that's part of the story of Epstein, the story of a man who left decades of trauma in his wake. Not a conspiracy, but perhaps something worse.
This should be the moment where American culture says, how did we let this happen? This was not a partisan failure. This was a political, and not even political, this was like a failure of Americans. Like this was a failure on all of our parts. And we need to look at the way we treat sex crimes, and we need to reassess the way we treat women.